What's up, fellas? Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are on the globe. Welcome to Authentic Alphas once again. It's your host, Ayindei, and I'm here with this lovely lady. What is your name?
Isis.
She's the terrorist.
Like the Egyptian goddess.
Not like the terrorism?
Not the terrorist.
All right. So tell us, a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? How old are you? What's your relationship status?
I'm from Cuba. I came here when I was 9 years old. I'm 36 years old. And I am engaged to get married. I got engaged this last October, and I'm set to get married in September.
Okay, so how long were you with this fiance?
7 years.
Oh, wow.
We have 2 kids together, so.
That's longer than most marriages last these days.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we can have a little bit of faith in this marriage lasting. I mean, if you were able to do 7 years in a relationship, so I guess I have 2 questions for you. What took you guys so long to decide to get married, and how secure or how confident in you in the institution of marriage at this point?
So I have been married previously. I was married very, very young. I was 16.
How many years?
I was married I got divorced at 22.
But how many years were you married?
About 6, almost 7.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I was very young. That's a whole other story, but I do believe in the institution. I think that whole relationship, what taught me was you have to be ready for it. And I think rushing into it when you're young doesn't make any sense. You're still growing as a person, but I do believe in it. I think that it's a beautiful thing. My grandparents were together since they were 19 years old. They died at 80, and my grandmother, I think, only had my grandfather as like her only partner. So I grew up with knowing that institution does work.
Okay.
I think, though, it's very difficult in this day and age to keep it that way, to keep it sacred, and there's a lot of outside influences that will affect that relationship. So you have to be secure in you first, and then the person that you're investing time in.
So now I want to ask you 2 questions, but one first, and we'll see if it leads into the second one. What was the reason that you guys got divorced? Like, who initiated it, and what was the reason?
Me.
Okay,
I
figured as much. So,
I did.
So what was your reason?
So I like I said, I got married very young. I also started working and being an independent person at 17 years old. My ex at the time, he was 5 years older than me. So by the time I got married, he was already in his 20s. And he sat and watched video games, played video games, and didn't do anything. I started my career, so I just got tired of
So wait a minute, you decided to start a career because you needed to bring in income, or you just wanted to do the independent thing?
So because I got married so young, I decided, let me do my GED, I'm gonna start my career. So I did that, I became a dialysis technician at 17, and then I just progressed as an individual in my career.
And he didn't.
So we used to live here in Florida, and we moved to Washington to live with his mom. So he had it easy. He was living at mom's house, but I was the one contributing all the income. So I basically got tired of that after so long.
See, this is what happens. This is what happens when people are given things that they didn't necessarily work for or earn. They tend to neglect them and not value them. So sometimes, male or female, maybe like your first relationship is really good. The other person is really good. And then you get to thinking somewhere in your mind, like, oh, this was my first try at it. I think I could do better.
Well, and that's how I feel about him.
And you don't realize that, no, you actually had it good the first time around. You just got lucky that you got a good one off rip. And then you run out there thinking that the grass is greener, and then you realize, oh, my God, I already had it. No shit.
Yeah, but it's also a train. I feel like I kind of made him into a man in a way, because I gave him the standard that a woman that's out there, that's independent, that's gonna, what to expect back. And if you're not giving it, you're not gonna get it, right? So
yeah, but he lost you ultimately.
Yeah, I think he's fine.
Yeah, if he was leveling up. Yeah, because he probably really did luck out, because, like, for example, that's not going to happen nowadays. It's very unlikely. And I find it, don't get me wrong, I find the young guys out here, that's my goal. Like, let me find these young guys that are young, and they have beautiful girlfriends that are family orientated, you know what I'm saying, and they're committed, and they're like already willing to give this guy their best years. So at that point, it's like, all right, dude, don't fuck it up. That's at the point where you stop focusing on the woman directly, and start focusing on yourself so that you can keep her indirectly. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. But and I feel like that's the same for women as well, though. Like, I don't know. I feel like when you're young, you're like, you don't want to invest that time in a relationship. You just want to be out there and having fun.
Yeah, now that's what the women are thinking.
Now. Like, the mentality is, like, I'm not going to waste my years locked down. Like, I want to experience things.
That's why I was trying to get at, like, how was he able to get you so young and so at such a young age? And then what made you decide to go out into the world? Because what happens is you have all these other cultures that are extremely strict on women.
Mine.
Right? They limit women.
Yeah.
And then you have Western women, and it's not even Western women because they're not coming up with this shit on their own, let's be honest, right? They put it in the media, they put it in the books, they put it everywhere to give these women this idea that, hey, you know, someone is holding you from fun. They're trying to enslave you. They're oppressing you, girl.
Yeah.
You know, don't let these men keep you down. And it's like, no, what these societies are trying to do is they're trying to keep their women from becoming corrupted. Now, are some cultures going way too far with it? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But then the Western world is going way, way, way to the other end.
Too extreme. Yeah.
Where it's not even that they're offering women like freedom and the freedom of choice. They're literally encouraging women to behave poorly and to engage in promiscuous behavior. You know, just low vibration shit. So, for example, why are we telling women that in their younger years, their childbearing years, that they should be out there clubbing and partying? And when I was a young dude, I used to wonder, why is it that females could out party the best of us as guys? Women could party Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night. They could be up at 8, 9 in the morning and then party till 3, 4 in the morning. And a guy, after you do that 1 or 2 nights in a row, you're burnt the fuck out.
And we can be efficient.
Right, and women can be efficient doing it. And it's because they're designed to be getting up at all times of the night to breastfeed babies.
Yeah.
That's why they have that type of endurance. But our culture is encouraging women to use that to party. Mm-hmm. You see what I mean? Mm-hmm. When they should be using it to build families young, at a young age, at an early age. So they're telling these women that, like, listen, this is what you want to be doing. So the women who are maybe in relationships early, they're seeing that. And they're thinking that they're missing something. Like, oh, I'm missing something. Yeah, but if you are to go out there and go partake in that, you're actually depreciating your value.
And eventually
to a husband.
Gets old.
To a husband.
Yeah.
Right? You're thinking you're increasing your value because you're gaining experiences. But how valuable are those experiences? Let's be honest. Oh, I partied here and here and here. I sat at the VIP with these high-profile guys. Oh, I hooked up with this alpha dude that makes X amount of money. Oh, I was in this, you know, $200,000 car. Oh, this guy flew me out and did this. Okay, after you did all of that, what is it doing for you on the inside?
Yeah.
Because now you just feel used up, and you have all of these memories that brought your standards up so high that now you have very little value to a dude of value, number one. And then number two, when you're in that relationship, you're just going to keep missing all those experiences. Like, oh, so we're just going to go grocery shopping, that's what we're going to do? And then we're going to take care of the home, and then we're going to do something with the children?
I think it's a balance, right? I think investing in yourself and knowing what you like and don't like. And that's where I kind of felt being married so young and being in a relationship for so long, I kind of did not grow up understanding what it was that ISIS liked. Like, do I really like to go eat sushi? Do I like Chinese? Do I, can I go to a concert? Like, those kind of things I didn't experience.
I feel like your husband should have been the one trying to share those experiences with you and expose you to them.
But that wasn't my experience. So when I got out of that relationship, I definitely went through the stage of like, and not even so much of like being out there, because that wasn't the thing for me. It was experiencing like, hey, let me go to the beach by myself and see how this feels, or like, it was things like that. I had never gone to a concert before my marriage. Whoa. So when I got out of it, it was just kind of like, let me experience things that I've never experienced before as an adult, which is another aspect of it. I was a minor when it happened. So when I came out of it, I was an adult, and then I didn't really know what ISIS as an adult by herself was. So that's the phase I went through.
Where was this guy's dad? Where was your ex-husband's father?
He was not in the picture.
Yeah. Why was I able to guess that one? Yeah. All right, but so now that you went, you did you sold your roll oats, you saw some of the world. Okay. You knew that you wanted to get back into a committed long-term relationship?
I've always been in long terms.
So you're wired that way?
I am. I like I said, I'm used to seeing that in my family, and I think I value that, having that one person that you know and then you get to share your life with. You know, whether you're having a bad day and you come home and you get to vent, or just like sharing fun stuff with that one person that you know exactly what they like or what I like. I like that.
Right.
So even after that relationship, after him, I was in 2 other long-term relationships before I got into the one I'm at now. And they've all been long-term. The one after him
how long was your shortest relationship? Let's try that.
My shortest was 2 years.
Which is longer than a lot of young girls today. A lot of young girls today tell me shit like a year and stuff like that. Like,
two and a half years at 22. And then I jumped into a 5-year relationship.
So is it safe to say that wives are raised, not born?
I think you learn that at home for sure.
Because a lot of women seem to think that this is something that they're going to decide in their life later on. Like, oh, I'll get married when I'm ready, or you know, all this type of stuff. Like they think so much is up to them. They've been convinced of this false sense of choice. And what I'm trying to say is that, like, for example, I can't just you know, live my life and then out of the blue say, you know what, when I'm good and ready, I'll decide to be a good father. Like, no, these are skills I would have had been picking up my entire life, right? Just like I can't say, you know what, in a couple of years I think I'm going to be an architect. Like, how is that going to work if I don't have any formal training in that? I
think if you are put in that situation, you do obviously get that mentality, right? It's the same thing with religion. It's the same thing with, you know, career-driven families, sports families.
Right.
It's the same mentality,
that's
right?
what I'm trying to say.
But I feel like at the end of the day, you always do have a choice. You can be in that upbringing and then say, you know what, marriage is not for me, or kids are not for me. I have friends that have just said, I don't think I'm ever gonna have kids, and I'm okay with that. And
yeah, but how old are they?
My age.
Yeah, and this is the thing, you got to be careful with that. I don't know why women believe women when y'all should know firsthand that most women are full of shit. Okay, when women say shit like that, often that's not what they actually mean. What they're doing is they're making their necessity a virtue, because you don't have children, and you don't have said guy that you would have children with. And you're blaming it on the quality of guys, when really it's more likely the quality of the woman, because I guarantee you the man that you're describing exists. The thing is, would he want you? And a lot of women, they miss that part. They're like, oh, I want him to be this height, and I want him to be this successful and have this much status and all this type of shit, and I want him to treat me like this and have this type of personality. All that's great, but if you were to meet that guy, what makes you confident that he would fucking want you? Yeah. Because the guy you're describing, many women would want him. Are you a woman? Many men would, like, what the fuck?
I think it goes beyond the physical, because you could have you could check off all the boxes, right, physically, and then still when it comes down to it, you have no chemistry together, and so then there goes all that. And I've experienced that, right? I've gone out with many different types. I don't necessarily think I have a type. For me, it's more about like your energy and how you and I like vibe together.
Right. But that's what I mean by choice, though. Because, for example, a lot of women post 35 like to throw the term single by choice around. It's like, you're absolutely not single by choice, because you will follow that up with, if the right guy comes along, then okay, then you're not single by choice.
No, but I'm not saying single. I'm saying like you're in a relationship, but you've decided as a woman, I don't want children. I respect that. Like, I'd rather you say I don't want children.
That's the time.
You being a crappy mom.
That's the time. That's the time when I would believe it. Yeah. But when the women are single as fuck and longing for a relationship, and they're childless, and they're saying, yeah, I don't want kids, or I don't think I'll have kids. It's like, no, that's bullshit. What happens is you're not in a position to accept or deny a viable option, is what it is. So when women keep using the word choice, a lot of times they're not even saying that they have the option to obtain. They're saying they have the choice to reject, and that's not the same thing. Having the choice to say no to undesirable men is not the same as being able to choose whether or not you're single or dating. If you understand what I'm trying to say, it's not that you want to be single. It's that the guy that you want hasn't come into your onto your radar and giving you the option to say yes or no to him. If said guy did that, right, then we could say, all right, this is by choice, right? So the other thing that I was gonna ask you is, so do you think that if you were to get divorced, like, okay, your last divorce, was it amicable? Yeah. But this guy didn't really have anything, though.
No. It was literally, we didn't even show up to court. It was just the paper and we were done.
Okay, so this time around, I'm assuming this guy is established, he has his shit together.
He does.
Right.
We have a house together, so it would be a different divorce this time around if it were to happen.
And you mean he would lose the house? Is what you're trying to say?
No, we own it together.
Okay, so he would lose the house. Like what the fuck?
And we have kids together, so it's a lot more.
Right. So
there's a lot more.
So alimony, child support, and the father is going to have access to the children.
Absolutely, he's a great father. I wouldn't take that away.
But what I'm saying is, you say that in this calm moment when everything is good.
No.
Right. When it's F you, I hate you. Is a relationship with the children still compartmentalized? Is it still separate?
So we've been together 7 years. That relationship started very on and off. It was rough. It was the typical Miami, we're here, we're not there, there's no titles. He has a 5-year-old daughter. My son is 4. So I had to be the bigger person in that situation. Whether it happened when we weren't, when it did happen, we weren't exactly together, whatever, but we were still in our lives, and I went back to him. Not that we were ever really off, but you know what I'm saying. It was that time
for
where
mostly the children, or
for his daughter, because his daughter is 5 years old. My son is 4, and whether it was a shock, I was hurt, and there was a point where I was like, I can't do this, and then it came like, okay, I have to meet the child, I have to accept her, but at the same time, I'm thinking, this little girl has the same rights to her father that my kids have. So I had to be the bigger person and be an adult and say, okay, well, if I'm deciding to stick with him, then that comes with that situation, and I need to accept it. And it's come to the point where now she's part of our lives, and I love her as much as she's in our house. And,
what about the other mom?
With me and her are super cool. So we talk, we get along. I'm getting married, and I want her to be my flower girl. Me and her are communicating on that.
Okay, so for me, right?
I think two adults can be amicable, even if the situation between them is not, for the sake of the kids.
But for me, that's a state of normality. But if I say that to the average Western woman, I'm somehow crazy. I'm misogynistic. Right? I'm a toxic male, and all this type of shit. And it's like, well, first of all, my culture's a little bit different. I'm Jamaican, so in Jamaica, that's just.
I'm Caribbean. I'm Cuban,
right. That's just life. That's just reality. Yeah. Like, guys will literally have a baby mama, and then a mile away they'll have another baby mama, and they'll spend their day visiting their baby mamas and their children.
I don't know if that's my culture, but I think it's more accepted to see that happen within that setting.
Right. My grandfather had 2 wives, 2 separate houses, 2 separate families,
2 lives.
And the wives, the women didn't necessarily interact, but they both knew about the other children and the other families. He was there for both the entire time. Right? They're in 2 different parts of New York, 2 different boroughs. Oh, wow. But he's back and forth to both. He's at both Christmases, both Thanksgiving, both everythings. And then the grandchildren we're just cousins, right? And then I've been in a polygamous relationship before and been with 2 women, lived with 2 women. So, like I'm saying, for me, it makes sense. And what I'm saying is most women, they're extremely like, no.
I'm not okay with two women. But that's
no. I'm not saying that to that extent.
Right.
But I'm saying it starts with the core concept of the man having children with more than one woman, which is normal. Like we've been taught differently just through this modern society that we have. But humanity as a species,
that's true,
and throughout history, that's just been normal. And as long as he's there for both and providing for both. Now, granted, the women, there is going to be always some type of jealousy. There is always going to be some type of animosity or whatever. That's life. But the point is that if you do the research, and by research I mean see the interviews with women that are in these type of situations, speak to women that are in these type of situations, much like yourself, the women tend to be happy. They're not unhappy. As long as they're being taken care of, they're being treated well, and the children are, it's a good situation for everyone, and the children especially, because if the women get along, now the children they get nurturing and they get emotional support from more than one female, more than one adult, and it allows the man to even be more of an earner now and to be even more productive if he's up to the task. I'm not saying that any guy is entitled to this. Any guy isn't even entitled to one woman, if I'm being honest. There's a lot of guys out here that's like they're upset and they're butthurt and they're lonely and they're acting like somebody owes them something. As a man, you are not entitled to reproduction. You're not entitled access to women. That's just the way it is. As a female, you are. But it's what quality of a man are you entitled to. But you are entitled to men. Yeah. There's plenty of dick out here. There's plenty of, trust me, guys are just they're gonna jump on 4, 5s, and 6s all day long. But as a guy, you have to be bringing some value to the table. You have to know how to lead. You have to know how to manage the situation, manage family, manage the relationship with the woman and business. And you have to be able to do the full gamut if you're going to expect mating rights, so to speak. And it's the same throughout the animal kingdom. But what I'm saying is when you speak to the women that are sister wives or the women that are in a committed relationship with a man that may have a child outside, but yet they get along with the other female, it tends to work very, very well is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. When you're open-minded and you stick to what's important, instead of it just being like a vindictive thing or a jealous thing or a man. And like I said, it's very delicate because the man could not be interacting well with.
Well, and I think I can separate what it is that they had versus what me and him have now. And I can respect the fact that there's a child and that child is just the same as mine. And I think me and her actually communicate more with each other about our kids and like what's going on.
Exactly.
More than he sometimes, just because we're more involved as women, you know, we're more.
Well, you have something in common. I mean, you guys technically speaking still have somewhat of a bond through him because you're both mothers of.
And our kids are siblings. At the end of the day.
Who can relate to what you're going through more than her?
Right.
Because it's the exact same guy. Like someone else can come tell you about their baby daddy, but with you and her, it's the same baby daddy.
Yeah.
Right? So I think it's interesting, and my curiosity is how and why? Like what is it about this woman's upbringing, and what is it about your upbringing where you both could kind of see the better picture and what's best for everyone?
Well, I think I mean, I can't speak for her, right? But I think she wasn't invested in him as a relationship. It was not something, it just kind of happened that way. It was like a one-time thing, and it led to that. I was invested in him, right? I was in the relationship, and I think what kept me is I saw the potential in him. He is an amazing father. He is grown tremendously from when the person I met him 7 years ago, and I have seen that change. My family has seen that change. My friends, everyone. So it's not that I'm just like sticking to it to see what like I've seen, and I've put him to the test, and I also see how he interacts with her and me and the kids. And I just see the value in it. And I think for her, it's like, you know, her daughter gets a dad that's in her life.
So he was able to maintain respect, basically.
He had to earn it back from me. You know, we went through a rough patch. You know, there was a lot of like, no, I don't want to do this, and I can't handle it or whatever. But I think I saw past that, and he did make changes for me, like visible changes for me to start trusting him again. And it's taken us 7 years. You know, his daughter's 5, my son is 4.
7 years is not a long time. It's only a long time when you're talking about relationships. That's what's crazy. Because if you're like, oh, I got 7 years on the job.
A lot of things happen.
7 years, 7 years to become a doctor. 7 years to become a dentist. So 7 years isn't really a long time in adult terms. It's just long. It's just long for a relationship nowadays. Because if we were having this conversation 50 years ago, people would be like, that's it? That's it? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So yeah, it's a little bit different, but I like that. I like where you're going with it, and I respect it. And I want to show people that it exists, because you're not supposed to exist. All women are supposed to be, you know, like this, and they're supposed to be gold diggers, and they're supposed to divorce you and take your children and all this kind of stuff. So I think nowadays we have to try harder than ever to be better judges of character and then have better character ourselves. Because even if you do meet somebody or run into somebody that has good character, the question is, but now do you? Because it has to kind of be...
You got to match that.
Right, you have to match those two people together to kind of get for shit to work. Because she could have been one of those women that's going to make your life a living hell.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Regardless of what you're saying.
And that would have made our relationship, me and his relationship.
That's what I'm trying to say. She could have easily been like, oh, I ain't want him. But now I do, so I'm going to fuck this shit all up because, you see what I mean? That could have very well been the case. And even if it wasn't his fault technically, it would have been his fault.
It would have ruined things.
Right,
yeah.
but it would be like, dude, but you engaged with that. Even though you didn't mean for all of this to happen, still.
It's happening.
You mess with her, and now it's fucking up my life. So now I have to distance myself away from you because, so he's lucky that both of the women that are the mothers of his children are well behaved, if that's not offensive to say it like that.
There's just a mutual respect, I think, and just being adults, like.
But that's rare, is what I'm trying to tell you. Most guys are struggling with the one baby mom. The one baby mom is a basket case, and is intentionally making his life intentionally making his life super, super difficult. When they could be cooperating, and it would actually be better for everyone. A lot of times, I look at it and I think, wow, this chick is putting this guy through it. And what is she getting out of it? Like, it's not making your life better. It's not making the quality of your life any fucking better. So why are you putting this guy through it?
Yeah.
And it's like the court system already got you back. You're already getting this child support money regardless. So you might as well have a good relationship with him so that he can have a great relationship with the children.
At the end of the day, you want them
to
benefit from it.
But you're being resentful from something that happened in the past that probably doesn't even really matter anymore. But you're still carrying on this. You know what I mean? All right, well, listen, I'm going to let you go. I know you got to do your work thing. I appreciate you talking.
Nice
you
to meet you.
Want to show off the ring? It's kind of big.
Oh, no.
Huh?
I like it.
I would ask how many carats, but I don't know shit about jewelry,
I don't know either.
Yeah, I don't.
So
that wasn't a big deal for you?
No.
Hold on, time out. You didn't get the ring appraised?
I mean, she has it. I haven't looked at it. He has the appraisal, he has the insurance, but I don't care.
So wait a minute.
It's not really about the ring for me. It's about the commitment. I mean, I like it. I think he did great.
I guess all women aren't the same. Because most women...
I wasn't even expecting a ring to begin with.
Most women, that's the first question that they're going to ask the bride. They're going to be like, oh, let me see the ring. And
but I don't know the
right, so what I'm asking is, do your friends ask? Are your friends curious?
My friends, it's funny. My friends actually, they went a whole year of, going out and, doing it with him. So they know more details about it than I do. But I'm sure if I pull up the appraisal, I can find out.
But you don't care, though?
I haven't cared to look.
Wow. All right, that is interesting. You see something unexpected every day.
I did actually go and did my band, so I know about that one. I went with the jeweler and we designed the band together. So
I'm really, really surprised by that. Most women care a lot about how many carats, how expensive is the ring, and
I wasn't even expecting a ring. I was already with the house and the kids and the commitment. I think, you know what, I think marriage for us at this point is the fact that my kids are now asking questions. They'll say that, they're learning their last names, and then they'll ask about my last name. So I think for us now it's just becoming a family unit, and marriage is just kind of what
it's the best
closes
thing.
That up.
Yeah, it's the best thing for the kids. I mean, I'll be honest. It's just the kids knowing that their parents are married.
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference. Like for me, I lost my father when I was young. But knowing that my father was 100% committed and invested has always made the world a difference to me.
It's your role model,
in my psychology. Because that's why it's like not having a father didn't affect me confidence-wise and emotionally the way it affected my peers. Because they either knew or were told that their father left.
Right.
And that will fuck you up for your whole life when you're like, why did my father leave me? Why didn't he want me?
Versus a circumstance
why
where
wasn't
you
I
just
good
can't
enough?
have him.
Right, versus that you meant the most to him out of anything in the world, and he was always there. Like all the stories that I was told as a kid, even though I wasn't walking, talking, and remembering, I know for a fact that I meant everything to my father, and then he was super, super obsessed with my mother. So
what more can you get?
Right, so it's just it was unfortunate that he died, but it wasn't his choice. Whereas other guys, their father's alive. You know what I mean? He's alive and well, and he chose to be somewhere else. Or the mother ran him away and said that. But either way, that's gonna imprint on the kid. Damn, my
he's out there somewhere.
Yeah, my dad didn't. My dad didn't want me. And then some people go search their father, they go track him down, and they hear a completely different story. But think about how much damage was already done from childhood to adulthood before they finally got to hear
their side of the story.
His side of the story. So I recommend all you fathers, whether you new fathers or old fathers, maybe you have small children, write your children. Write your children adult letters.
That's a great idea.
And then put it aside. That way, should anything happen,
they get your...
Right, they know exactly what your thoughts were, but on an adult level as an adult. So just write it like you're talking to an adult. Don't write it like you're talking to a child. And put it aside. Even if nothing does happen to you and you're here until you become an old man, they will still be able to see where your head was at that time when they were at that age, you know, and what it meant to you. So I think that's very important to keep a diary of sorts that you plan to give to your children that they can read when they get to a certain age.
That's a great idea.
All right, guys, so we're out of here. Find you a woman that's marriage material. And I recommend to you guys all the time, make sure that their parents are married, all their past relationships were long-term relationships. And if you're dealing with women over 28, try to find, no, this is real shit. If you're dealing with women over 28, women in their 30s, and that's the age, you know, group that you're comfortable dating and committing to, try to invest in a woman that was married previously. It makes a huge difference because a 35-year-old woman that was never married versus a 35-year-old that was married for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years, it's night and day. Number one, her resume shows that she has experience as a wife, not running the streets. And then the body count is low. Granted, she wasn't cheating on her husband at all or habitually. Even if she did cheat on her husband, how many times did she really cheat on her husband? So she's been in a marriage for over 6, 7 years, and she's never cheated on her husband, and she got married at 21. Do the math. How many dudes was she's with? Whereas if this chick was never married, bro, she slept with several guys in college. She slept with several guys past college, and you don't want it at that point. So anyway, just keep that on your mind. We're out of here. Thank you, ISIS. Don't blow anything up. We're out of here. Peace.